Hello everybody. So today what we're going to do is pull the front accessories off and start the cam swap. So we'll get the front accessories off and out of the way. Also going to pull the cylinder heads off the car because I'm going to be upgrading them to Lingenfelter CNC ported heads. Also going to be upgrading the rockers. I'm going to be replacing the factory needle bearing style trunnions to a bushing style by CHE. So I have an arbor press and I'll show that where press the old bearings out and the new bushings in as well. Put the cam back in and probably get the cylinder heads back on, the new cylinder heads back on and torque down today and see where we're at from there. Next thing we're gonna do is take the factory rockers and disassemble them. I've done 2 already. This gets rid of the factory needle bearings on the rocker assembly, and we're gonna go to a trunnion and bushing style by CHE. So these go on both ends, and they're captured with some snap rings as well. So first step is to disassemble all the rockers, and then we're going to reassemble them with the bushings. You got to dip the bushings and both ends of the trunnion in motor oil when you assemble it. And then there's snap rings, obviously, to capture the bushings inside. And there's a rough edge and a sharp edge, and you want to have the sharp edge facing away from the trunnion when they're assembled. So pretty easy. Using an arbor press with a old 7/8 washer, or sorry, 7/8 socket and a 9/16 socket to press it out on the arbor press. So first thing, I'm going to disassemble them all and then reassemble them. So I have all the rockers disassembled and cleaned up, the intakes and exhaust. I didn't have to keep track of which cylinder they came off of because there's new cam, new lifters, new push rods all going in. The snap rings are arranged so that all the sharp edges are down towards the counter for assembly. And then I got my kit here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and assemble them now. So next up is going to be installing the cam. This is a Lingenfelter GT14. It's ground by Camshaft to Lingenfelter specs. It has a spec duration, advertised duration, 273 intake and a 285 exhaust. Duration at 50 is 223 intake, 235 exhaust with a 115-degree lobe separation angle. Valve lift is 0.610 on intake, 0.620 on exhaust. Also have a 3-bolt timing chain gear, new oil pump, new thrust plate for the camshaft, just for a little added security. So we'll start with the cam install, and going with this I also have a new C5R timing chain from Caltech that's soaking in the oil right now, so it'll be ready, all lubed up when it's time to install it. Okay, so now we got the cam installed. Oil pump's on, new oil pump with O-ring. The C5R timing chain is installed as well. Front cover is on. New gasket, obviously. Oil pan is tightened back up. I got the new lifters installed in the block. So next step will be putting on the head gaskets, new cylinder heads from Lingenfelter, torquing the heads down. And I'll double check the push rod length just to confirm everything's good. Brian Tooley push rods to go in it. And if everything's good, I'll install all the push rods and the rocker arms with the upgraded trunnions. And then the harmonic balancer and drive accessories. So cylinder heads are on, torqued down. Next thing to do is just to check the push rod length. I have some Brian Tooley 7.400 push rods, but I'm just gonna check the push rod length with the Camshaft push rod length tool. So basically how this works is the tool starts at 6.8 is the starting length, and there's some scribe marks here. So every rotation is 50 thousandths of an inch. So I'm gonna put it in, I'm just gonna extend it out until I have my rocker reach 0 lash. And to do that, we gotta make sure, I'll start with the intake. So I'm gonna start with the intake valve. And for the intake valve to be on base circle, the exhaust valve has to be opening. And to check the exhaust, when it's on base circle, the intake has to start closing. So the first thing I'm gonna do is start with the intake. Okay, I'll keep rotating it. Once my exhaust starts opening, I know my intake is on base circle. I just got my hand on the push rod. Okay, so the exhaust is opening right now. So the intake is on base circle. There's too much lash there. So I'm just gonna crank the tool out. So I'm gonna start with, I'm gonna get it close. I'm gonna go to 7.350 or 7.400 and go from there. So it's 7.350 there.
So it should still be too much lash, but I'll just double check. Should have to give it basically one more rotation. Ooh, that's close. Just gonna double check my counts here. So 6.8, 6.85, 6.9, 6.95, 7, 7.05, 7.1, 7.15, 7.2, 7.25, 7.3, 7.35, 7.4. So that should be 7.400. So that is the length of the push rods I have. That is 0 lash, 7.400. So those will work. And I'm just gonna do the same thing on the exhaust now. So now that I have the valve train back together, I'm going to prime the engine oiling system, the entire system, by using a power bleeder that you use for your brakes, and just put 30-40 pounds of oil through it. It's a brand new bleeder, so there's no contamination. So I got a bushing I'm going to tie into the side of this oil galley plug that will send oil all the way through the motor. Just because I got a new oil pump on there and new valve train, I just want to make sure everything's good and oiled before I put the harmonic balancer and the water pump and all that stuff will be in my way, so I might as well do it now. So it took a while for the oil to come around to the rockers. You could hear the air purging out of the system, but it's all primed now. So next thing I'm gonna do, put the steam vents back on the new cylinder heads, valve covers, put the plugs in, or headers on with the new header gaskets, plugs, valve covers, tie in the ground straps to the back of the cylinder heads again, where they came off. Might as well get that all done, and then I'll put the harmonic balancer, water pump, and front drive accessories back on next after that.
So this is probably a pretty good place to end the video. So the camshaft is in, new cylinder heads are on. Cylinder heads are Lingenfelter, camshaft is a GT14 as well. It's a comp cams, but to Lingenfelter specs. I did just finish changing out the idler pulley, idler bracket pulley for the Lingenfelter relocation bracket for the idler pulley, as well as a new crankshaft pulley. It's the Lingenfelter 9.17. The one I had on before was the 8.65 diameter. So this one's going to be spinning the supercharger faster. It went from a 10% lower overdrive to 18% overdrive now. So total overdrive for the supercharger will be around 34%, which has a max RPM of 25,000 RPM on the supercharger, and that's rated at 6,500 RPM on the motor. So it's gonna be making a lot of heat spinning that fast. So to fight that, I have a killer chiller system that I purchased from Kincaid Performance. So the supercharger will be going on, my reinforced brick intercooler, that's going to be going on as well inside the supercharger, and the new killer chiller system by Kincaid. And hopefully start buttoning this up and starting her up on the next video. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.